You know why you're here, right?
No, why am I here?
I believe that you wrote the second half of Isaiah.
I sure didn't.
Well, what were you doing when it was written?
Well, I was trying to put out the eternal flame over at all of that, and it just wouldn't go out, so, but that's what I was doing.
Wow, that sounds really stupid.
Well, that's where I was.
I know you did it.
Did what?
I know you're one of the writers of Isaiah.
Not possible.
How can I believe you?
I had food poisoning on Monday from Luddy because I ate there.
Shouldn't eat there.
Never.
I know you did it.
Did what? I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you wrote the second half of Isaiah.
No, I didn't write it.
What were you doing on Monday?
I was in an important meeting with Dr. Bowling discussing the future of Olivet Nazarene University.
I don't believe you.
Well, that's where I was.
Alright, I brought you here because you're one of the prime suspects for writing the second half of Isaiah.
Well, I didn't write that. For sure didn't write it.
How can I believe you? What were you doing?
I was actually just finishing up my 25th set of bicep curls in the rec center and was about to start bench.
Wow, you sound like you're yoked.
I'm huge.
But I also don't believe you.
I couldn't have done it. Look at these bad boys.
You know why I brought you here, right?
No.
Because you're a prime suspect of writing the second half of Isaiah.
Why?
Because I saw your notepad, and there's a whole lot of scripture in there.
That couldn't have been mine.
I believe it's yours because you signed your name to it.
I wasn't there.
What were you doing then?
I was in the rec center vortex pool doing my rounds.
Oh, so you like swimming.
Yes?
Interesting. Alright, so we have yet to have anyone admit to writing the second half of Isaiah, so I think we're going to have to use some more drastic measures. Alright, since you won't admit to writing the second half of Isaiah, and I know how much you like water and swimming in the pool, I'm sorry, I have to do this to get the information out of you. No, no. Alright, so we still don't know who wrote Isaiah. Still no one will admit to doing it, even after me waterboarding one of the suspects. So, in conclusion, all the writers of the second half of Isaiah are still anonymous. Could still be Isaiah. We don't know for sure. But I'm going to have one of my partners explain the rest for you.
So here is a recap for you visual learners out there. There once was a man, and his name was Isaiah, and he wrote the whole book of Isaiah, according to some theologians. According to other theologians, they do think Isaiah wrote the book of Isaiah, but only the first Isaiah, which is the first section in the book of Isaiah. Now, these theologians also believe that chapters 40 through 55 were written by this guy, but we do not know his name, although he did write this section. Now, this section is called Deutero-Isaiah, which is the second section in Isaiah. Next is chapters 56 through to the end of Isaiah. Theologians believe that this part of Isaiah was written by multiple people that did not have a name. But, like the last section, people did write all the way from 56 to the end of Isaiah. This section of Isaiah is called Trio-Isaiah, which is the third section. Now, people believe that Isaiah wrote the first half, but the second and third half are what's the iffy parts. Now, different people believe that Isaiah wrote the whole book, just at different time periods of his life. And other people believe that Anonymous and multiple people wrote the other portions because they were in a different tone and a different style than the first Isaiah.
Although it can be difficult to know for certain who wrote the book of Isaiah, most people now agree that all the prophecies on the book come from Isaiah himself. Although it is easy to find the source of Isaiah, finding the author is a little bit more complicated. At first, interpreters who were maybe trying to translate the book of Isaiah assumed that Isaiah himself wrote it. But now, in modern times, most people believe that at least two people contributed to the writing of Isaiah. It is possible that Isaiah wrote down his own prophecies, but oftentimes things during biblical times were passed on through oral tradition. It is also unlikely that the different sections of Isaiah were completely separate because a unified whole of the book is compiled in every version available now of Isaiah, for example, in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Reading through Isaiah can be a little bit difficult to understand because it was originally written in Hebrew. Also, people in biblical times trying to read through the book had a difficult time knowing exactly what the message was trying to say because Isaiah wrote his section of the book kind of just in his own stream of consciousness. But we don't really have this problem today with our modern techniques of interpretation used by many scholars all over the world, including philology and archaeology. Scholars come from many different geological, ideological, and ecclesiastical backgrounds, and they live amongst a majority of people with a different religion than their own, who can bring a multitude of new ideas to the table. People during this time of Isaiah 40 through 66 believed that if they were suffering, it was because of their own sin. But the Deutero section of Isaiah says that Jesus is coming and his suffering will be because of their own transgressions, which was a completely new concept for them. In exile, this confronted Israel, whose understanding that they were God's chosen people had faded. Also in exile, Isaiah 40 through 66 emphasizes their coming blessings to remind them of what they were promised, and it reestablishes Israel as God's chosen people.
So now here are some interesting facts about Isaiah. Isaiah's ministry ranged from 740 BC to 680 BC. Isaiah is the 23rd book in the Bible, and Isaiah is kind of like a miniature version of the Bible. The first 39 chapters are like the first 39 books of the Old Testament, and they are filled with judgment upon immoral men. And then the last 27 chapters are like the 27 books of the New Testament, declaring a message of hope. Another thing about Isaiah is he spent most of his time in Jerusalem. And another interesting thing about Isaiah is 96 years before Babylon became a world power, Isaiah prophesied that they would be involved in the judgment of Judah. The two themes throughout Isaiah 40 through 66 are comfort and reassurance, and these two verses do a great job of representing those themes.